Sports Illustrated and others, well, they see color. They see color, and they don't like it. They see political standing, and they like or they don't like. Used to be a kid, me, ran to the mailbox starting on Thursday, hoping against hope that rare time when Sports Illustrated came a day early, I'd get it. It never did or rarely did it, but Friday was the day, baby. And when I opened up that mailbox at 1620 West 54th Avenue, Maryville, Indiana, I was waiting. Yeah, I was waiting. And if it wasn't there, sadness prevailed. If it was there, I had to time it. I had to time what I was going to do. A Totino's Pizza, if my mom went shopping, Sports Illustrated, and an orange pop. Woo, that was Friday night in a big city, sadly, until I went to college, basically. But I digress. Sports Illustrated, if they wrote it, I read it. If they wrote it, I believed it. Now I'm not so sure. I mean, what the hell are we doing? Sports Illustrated named as 50 most influential sports figures in sports. Stephen A. Smith, Kirk and his dog Ben, Herb Street. College Football Insiders, Hayes Fawcett, Joe Tipton. I don't know either. They must not be that important. The only problem is this. The only problem is they forgot about, well, Pat McAfee, Charles Barkley, Dave Portnoy, Dan Dakich, Michael Strahan, Colin Cowherd, Adam Schefter, Bill Simmons. They all didn't make it. Now, I tried to look for a common theme in all of those folks that didn't make it. The white guy theme is out because they put Strahan in there, but I would argue Strahan isn't really in sports. So, of the names that they gave me, looks like white guy. Interesting. Except for Barkley. Now, if you don't put Barkley in there, you just don't understand. And McAfee. The others, I don't know. Certainly they seem to be influential. Certainly they seem to have an impact. But Barkley and McAfee are beyond this list. That's kind of what it shows. It shows that, all right, we're going to do a 50 most influential without really doing the 50 most influential. There are certain people above our list. Let's go. And we're going to credit Bobby Barack for doing the deep dive. Sports Illustrated listed ESPN's WNBA studio team of Duncan, Chimichanga, and Carter. Here's the problem. Those three women are not among the 50 most influential in sports media, let alone sports. McAfee and Barkley are undoubtedly two of the 50 most influential figures in sports. There's a reasonable argument they are more influential than even Stephen A. Smith. But what is the common theme on the three little girls that do the WNBA? Well, two of them are incredibly arrogant. I don't know the Chinny lady, although I worked with her once and she seemed like a clown. But two of them believe their own stuff. But, of course, they're all women of color. We know where these things go. They have to go in that direction. If Sports Illustrated didn't, well, the guy that just bought Sports Illustrated, the people that just bought Sports Illustrated, would be faced with what? The R word? Oh, say it ain't so, Johnny. The R word would come back to the suit sitting in Sports Illustrated's building. Duncan, Chinny, and Carter only made waves this year because social media praised the three black women for leading the racially charged crusade against Caitlin Clark. Duncan, Chimmy, and Carter defended the black women in the WNBA targeting of Clark as if it was their moral duty, which it pretty much is. Hating on Caitlin Clark by these clowns is good business. I put in to buy these clowns. But it's neither unique nor influential. The market for doing such is already oversaturated. Well, the market for doing such is pretty much closed down, other than Cheryl Swoops, who is now seen not as a basketball icon, but as a bitter old lady. She is. Now, these three, well, they have to answer to their constituents, the sisters and the brothers that they hang with. They have to. I mean, look, people get mad at white dudes defending white dudes, but they got to go back to their white community. Same thing with the sisters and the brothers. It's the Obama effect. Obama was a politician until last 6 months. Then he realized, hey, man, I got to hold on to my African-American identity, And then he started targeting cops and doing stupid stuff. It's what happens, both races. I understand nobody else is going to touch on this, but what the hell? It's what happens, both races. You've seen it. I've seen it, if you're paying attention. Sports Illustrated did not honestly attempt to lead the top 50 most influential figures in sports. Money drives professional sports in America. The players in the league act at the behest of the figures who control the money. Listing L. Duncan, Cheney, and Carter over Pat McAfee and Charles Barkley accomplished that, but it compromised the credibility of the exercise. Well, yes and no. Yes, it did compromise for people that pay attention. But no, it satisfied the morons. And let's be honest. The fact that Kamala Harris is getting one vote shows that there are morons, many, many morons in this country. And what you do with the sinking ship that is Sports Illustrated, new owner, thing went downhill, trying to revive it. Junior Bridgman, famous NBA/Wendy's entrepreneur, said, I ain't buying that mess. New owners bought it, want people to talk about it, put Angel Reese on the cover, and write stupid stuff. See, that's the difference between woke sports media and real sports media. Back in the day, Sports Illustrated didn't have to do that. Back in the day, they put on the cover what was the best thing of the week. Didn't matter if it was an Indiana basketball player or a bicyclist. Didn't matter if it was a football player or a gymnast. If you had the biggest impact of the week, Sports Illustrated put you on the cover. People used to say, that's cover-worthy. Well, now, what's cover-worthy is having the right political affiliation, having the right skin color, being on the right side of the woke media. We know this, and it's sad, because most people my age that are sports fans, at one point or the other, either got Sports Illustrated at home, read Sports Illustrated in the library of their school, picked up Sports Illustrated at the doctor, the dentist, whatever office, and loved it. You know, I remember as a kid, one of my first memories as a kid is reading a Sports Illustrated article in the Gary, we called it the clinic. I was in the clinic, had a sore throat, and I'm sitting there with my mom. And I pick up a Sports Illustrated, and I'm reading it. I don't know how old I was, let's say 10. And I remember, you know how you go to the doctor, and you want the doctor to get here. Get here, doctor. Damn, I'm waiting. Well, I didn't want the doctor to come because I was enthralled with Sports Illustrated. Now, what are you doing? Okay, some girl can't make a basket, dresses skimpily, shakes her ass. She's on the cover. That's not influential. That's just modern sports porn. Good for you, Sports Illustrated. You are the one we all watched, we all read, we all look forward to, and now you are the one that has sunk to the depths of irrelevancy. Kind of like me. The 2024 regular season, speaking of influential, the 2024 regular season of the WNBA, which we're still talking about today, whatever date this is. Both ESPN and ION, think about this for just a second. ESPN and ION saw huge numbers in their ratings. The increases were phenomenal. The increases included many games over 1 million. We've documented that. Majority featured Indiana Fever rookie sensation Caitlin Clark. Here's the numbers. Basically, these are the final numbers as Caitlin Clark ended the regular season last night, 20-20. I was really hoping they would win last night. They played their subs. I'd like to see them have a winning season. For the W season, this was the first time double-digit number of games exceeded 1 million viewers, something unheard of for the league previously. Leading the way was ION. Man, Eon, Ion, OON, whatever network. Their coverage of Friday night doubleheaders for the league, they saw an increase in viewership by 133% over the 2023 season. They averaged 670,000 viewers, with 7 games exceeding 1 million viewers. Out of those 7 games, the majority featured Caitlin Clark. The highest viewed game for Ion featured a national broadcast, August 30th, Fever Sky, and a local broadcast featuring the Minnesota Lynx and the Dallas Wings. Both broadcasts drew an audience of 1.6 and peaked at 1.92. The partnership between Ion and the WNBA brought in new viewers for both the network and the league as the male audience averages, 25 to 54. It sucks. It really sucks when you're outside of the most important demographic. Nobody cares. That audience grew by 181% this season. Ion brought in the largest percentage of female audience compared to other networks broadcasting the WNBA. 50% of their audience was female and ages 18 to 49. 45% of their P2 plus audience was female. Why? I'll give you two words, Caitlin Clark. I mean, look, people have documented this, and good for them. People have documented, why didn't the Olympic team put Caitlin Clark on the team? I don't know. But it hasn't hurt her. She's played terrific in the second half of the season as she finally got a break. Hasn't hurt the league as, well, they won the gold medal, the United States did, with the WNBA players. They got better ratings on every network across the board. They exceeded 1 million on viewers. And they have the playoffs coming up, which honestly, if you look at what's normal, in normal leagues, the playoffs generally do better than anything else. We'll see. I mean, of course, you're talking about summertime. A little different than NFL college football time. But we've talked about this before. Good for the WNBA. Good for Caitlin Clark. Now, don't be idiots. Don't kill the golden goose. Give the gal after the playoffs some time off and then market the crap out of her. And don't worry, white, black, green, or purple. She seems to resonate with everybody. You white guys and white gals running the WNBA, don't worry about it. Do what's best for the league. Not what's best for you not to have an article written that, oh, my God, there's enough diversity in the WNBA. Sell the stars. Learn from David Stern. Couple of things here. By the way, last night, I must say, and I'm going to get to this at some point, maybe not, but I got to tell you, I thought Aaron Rodgers looked pretty damn good last night. I did. I thought Aaron Rodgers looked good. What's your all's problem with Aaron Rodgers? I thought Aaron Rodgers was smooth in the pocket, flip passes where they need to be flipped. Now, I'm not happy about it, although it was the easiest money to be made last night. You knew. What do I tell you all the time? I tell you, first game out under a new coach, the team usually plays well. What did the New England Patriots do? First night, played well. 6 wasn't enough last night. That was the easiest money I made. I was dumb enough to put an over 39. That wasn't getting to 39 today, tomorrow, and Drake May. I don't know what to tell you, son. I don't know what. You're a third pick in the draft. I should be the fourth. But anyway, side note. Hey, Nick, I thought Aaron Rodgers looked pretty damn good last night. What'd you think?
I thought he looked pretty damn good, too. And I thought he had that slant pass to Garrett Wilson. He knows how to sling the ball on the side. I really like how he's able to maneuver in the pocket, and he's able to handle that under pressure. I think that the biggest test will be in the coming weeks. You can't really tell. I mean, the Broncos will get better. It should be a win for the Jets, but I think he'll only get better with the players that he has around them.
Yeah. Yeah, I like their team. I'm not mad at him. I know everybody in New York was mad at him. I mean, he could. I'd tell you what, I'd like to have him quarterback in the Colts. I mean, I'd like to have him quarterback in the Bears if I'm a Bears fan. I don't know. I thought he looked pretty damn good. I had no problem with Aaron Rodgers. Yeah, looked like Aaron Rodgers. You know what I mean?
He looked like the Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, that's right. That's a good way to put it. The Aaron Rodgers. We'll be back to Nick in a minute. Jerry Jones, certainly not afraid of raising expectations. Isn't it amazing, though? Before I move it along, isn't it amazing how every day you talk about Jerry Jones? Every time they lose, Dak Prescott sucks, Mike McCarthy's got to be fired. Correct me if I'm wrong, but the last undefeated season in the NFL is 1972. Let me say it again. start to finish, Super Bowl, 1972. Teams are going to lose. I know it's weird. I know your team shouldn't. I know you got to get mad, yell at players. But teams in the NBA, NFL are going to lose. I swear to God they are. Well, Jerry Jones, he's not afraid of raising expectations. And those expectations, guess where they're pinned? Mike McCarthy. I bet you this. I don't know this. I'm saying this. I'm reading the tea leaves. If Jerry Jones could get rid of Mike McCarthy right now and put Bill Belichick at the helm, I feel like he would do it in a second. Don't you? I do. I feel like it would be one of those deals where, get his ass out, bring his ass in. I don't think where he is with his contract has anything to do with the win at Cleveland, where we were giving accolades out to him and Zimmer, or how we played Sunday. We're trying to get this team ready and in place to really make a run at the playoffs. On any given Sunday, you can have a bad day in the NFL. Bingo! B-I-N-G-O, 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 and bingo was his name. And you certainly can lose a game in the NFL. And the NFL is one in which you can lose several games. And if you're playing well at the end of the year, you can win the Super Bowl. Absolutely. So that's just what we've got. See, here's a problem. What he said right there is absolutely right. But the problem is Jerry Jones is saying it. Jerry Jones is saying it. And when Jerry Jones says it, you go, oh, okay, that's a shot at somebody. If we've got an albatross around our neck, any albatross around our neck, it's that we've been a good to very good team during the season over the last 4 or 5 years with Mike. Haven't done well in the playoffs. Let's trade some challenges during the season for doing well in the playoffs. If you want to look at it that way, there isn't a single human being inside of a single sports locker room that looks at it that way. Hey, let's get our ass beat now so we won't later, because there's no guarantee of that. You get your ass beat now, you know what might happen later? I say it all the time. You might splat. What does that mean? Well, that means you don't make the playoffs. What does that mean? You might just a bad team all year. That's what that means. Sure. Teams have started out good. Teams have started out bad. Teams have started out mediocre. Teams have had great stretches, bad stretches, and won the Super Bowl. Comes in all shapes and forms. And Jerry Jones is not wrong. He's not wrong at all. You want to be playing well at the end. But the truth of the matter is that you can't guarantee the end unless you play pretty well during the season. I mean, the playoffs, it's not the WNBA where 8 out of 12 win, although it's close. I mean, let's be honest. You have many more nights like that, like the rout at the hands of Derek Carr and the New Orleans Saints. There's going to be some real questions around Big D. And those questions are going to be answered in one way, and one way only. Hasta la vista, Mike McCarthy. Hola, Bill Belichick. Oh, my God, he spoke Spanish. He's so rude. He's so rude. Billy Napier is on the hot seat, a 1-2 start at Florida. And don't expect to see Urban Meyer back in Gainesville, really. He says that ship has fully sailed. By the way, Urban Meyer, Rob Stone, and Mark Ingram, their podcast on college football, I think it's through Fox, is fantastic. No, it really is. I don't watch the whole thing. I've seen clips on Twitter, and it's fantastic. I mean, the insight given is second to none. The conversation is great. Here's Urban talking about going back to the Gators.
And I guarantee you there's some boosters, there's some alums out there saying, you know what? Let's find Urban Meyer's number and let's get his tail back down to Gainesville. Somebody called you, said, Coach, come fix us again. What would you tell them?
That ship has sailed, Mark. And I want that program to do well so bad. I know so many people there and give a big part of our life to that program. But that ship has sailed.
Yeah. I'm looking at you, Notre Dame. No, I'm not. I think the ship has sailed for Urban in every area. I think he likes what he's doing. I think he enjoys being around his family. I think he really enjoys the media, particularly the people that he was with. That's what I think. That's what he tells me. That's what we've talked about. Hey, look, if I were Florida, yo, how much you want? If I were Florida State, I'd be thinking about it. If I were Notre Dame, back on my mind. But if I'm Florida, yo, see, here's the problem with coaches. Coaches used to revere and respect the past. They used to say, I want to sit at the knee of a guy who's already done it and learn. Billy Napier goes to Florida. If I go to Florida, the first thing I'm doing is I'm calling Urban Meyer, Dan Mullen, and those guys. I want to know what in the hell's going on in Florida. Actually, I'm doing it before I take the job. What's going on here? What are you thinking? You know, Urban was always smarter than everybody. When he went to Bowling Green, he came into my office as the basketball coach. He was the wide receiver coach at Notre Dame. He says, hey, Mike Bray told me to come see you. I said, yeah, what's up? He goes, hey, what's the talent level here? I go, dude, I assume you already know, but they got some guys. They got a quarterback named Josh Harris that can really play. And then when he went to Utah, he told me that Ron McBride had left an absolute monster. He just didn't want to coach anymore. And then every coach in college football doesn't mind following Ron Zook because Ron Zook was one of the great recruiters in college football. That's who he followed at Florida. So Urban understands finding out about the program and being prepared for the program before you go to the program. Now, yeah, they had players, but there's a reason the job was open. Undisciplined, no work ethic, drug use, you name it. And Urban is the best at all that. He comes in, he recruits to the highest level. You want to stay, you're great. You don't, you go. You're going to work your off, and you're going to be his guy or you're not. It should be great to follow Urban Meyer, other than the championships that you got to live up to. But I tell you what, Billy Napier, when I asked Urban, did Napier ever call you before or during the job, search, hunt, having it? No, never heard a word. That's just dumb. That's just dumb. Danny, that's, to quote my Southern Indiana folk, Danny, that's just dumb. You know how Southern people do that, and then they look at you. And they want you to know two things. One, I'm serious about this. And two, you better agree with me or I may get out my shotgun. Danny, I just don't. It is. Shane Steichen could almost had a held back laughter at our resident idiot Greg Doyel here in Indianapolis. Greg fancies himself as smarter than everybody else, more inquisitive, a bit of a character, if you will. And it all backfired famously when the Indiana Fever or the Indy Star, or the WNBA, or all of them put a restraining order of sorts on him where he cannot attend and cover. I guess he could attend Fever games, but he can't cover them for their publication. Well, Shane Steichen, the coach of the Colts, got a dose of Doyel. Doyel trying to ask one of his cute little questions in his cute little folksy way about something he didn't bother to research, and a combination of holding back laughter and Bill Belichick broke out. Here it is.
I don't claim to understand them, but there's for clean pocket percentage. Richardson is near the bottom of the league, about 42.9%. And again, I don't claim to know what that means. I just saw it on a site that I believe. Does that mean anything to you? And
I don't know. Where does that stat come from? I feel good about our offensive line. Yeah.
That's a look of, okay. Like if you're the writer and you're anything but a nutcase, you kind of do your own research. Hey, I saw this stat, and it means that he's getting protected better than anybody, blah, 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 blah. But Doyle's cute. Doyel tries to be cute. And I love that more guys like Deion Sanders are just kind of making, however they do it, media guys look like morons. Like Steichen looked, where's that Steichen? Steichen is normally a gregarious guy. Steichen is not Bill Belichick, particularly, well, in any way, shape, or form. But I love the fact that, you know what? You don't have to take this crap. Writers aren't some deity. Writers aren't some holy grail. There used to be a thing that says, do not fight with people that buy ink by the barrel. Now it's like, hey, idiot, Stop being an idiot. Everybody's media. Doyel got universally ripped for that and probably should. Former President Donald Trump went after Minnesota Governor Tim Walz, telling a story about him during the 2020 BLM riots in Walz's state of Minnesota, saying Walz made a call to the White House begging him to put out a statement saying he was his friend because he was afraid of the American flag-wielding Trump supporters. Here's Trump on Gutfeld.
It is funny. Waltz is a strange dude.
Oh, he's strange.
He is strange.
crazy.
Him and I are the same age. How does he look so much younger?
No, he's a strange guy.
Strange.
You know, he called up years ago. I was in the White House, and he said, my house is being surrounded by people with American flags. I said, is that a good thing or a bad thing? He said, I think they're going to attack me. This was during the riots and everything else. They were MAGA people. You know, they like the American flag, all right? And they also had Trump. And I said, how do you know? There were about 15,000, He said, could you put out a word like that I'm your friend? I don't even know him, but that's the only time I ever spoke to him. And if you look back long ago, tweets, before Truth, tweets, long ago, I put out a statement. He's a good man, the governor. He's on our side. I didn't know him, but I didn't want him to get hurt. And everybody put down their flags and they left. Yes. He said it was a miracle. He said it was a miracle. I didn't want him to get hurt.
Scared by the American flag.
They are.
They say he's not a nice guy. I would have had fun with that. I'd like, call the barbecue, go outside.
He remembers it, actually. He was a little bit nervous about things. They had one guard. He said, we have one guard at the door. Mm-hmm. It was the mansion for the state. Then he said, we have one guard at the door, and you have 15,000 people out there. And I'm a little bit, I don't know, they look violent. I said, are they carrying the American flag? They're not going to be violent.
Yes.
But I put out a statement, and they just went back. It was sort of a beautiful thing in a lot of ways. Beautiful.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, I always tell people on all of my shows, there's always a backstory. There's literally always a backstory. I mean, whenever you read something, there's a backstory. Whenever you see something, there's a backstory. Always a backstory. I mean to tell you. Now, look, maybe Walz, I'm sure he will deny it. I haven't seen where he's denied it. But there's always a backstory. And the idea of keeping your friends close but your enemies closer, boy, is that true. So Walz now can't wait to rip all over Trump after begging Trump, assuming this story is true. Now, that could be the backstory, too. Seriously, that could be the backstory. The backstory could be Trump's lying about this. I don't know, but I have not seen. Maybe I missed it. I have not seen Walz come out and say this didn't happen. Smartest thing for Walz because, you're either going to say it didn't happen or you're going to ignore it. There's no chance that you come out and say, yeah, this happened. Oh, sure. Yeah, absolutely. What, are you kidding me? Of course this happened. Now, that ain't happening. That ain't happening today. That ain't happening tomorrow. That ain't happening the next day. You know what I mean? No, it ain't. So anyway, long story short, this whole thing on the Democratic side is a fraud. Let's talk some football. I mentioned it last night. The Jets and the Patriots. Everybody was so excited about the Patriots. Everybody was losing their mind. Oh, my God. Well, to quote my man here, let me read to you what my guy said. Jets, Patriots recap. Jets whooped that New England ass, holding them to only 3 points. Let me ask you a question, Nick. Now that you've seen New England, I don't know, maybe you saw New England before. Maybe you've seen New England. Well, let me ask you, how many games do they win? Like, are they any good?
I would give them at least 3 games, 4 games. I don't know what the over-under is.
Oh, come on. They've already won 1.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I give them 3 to 4.
Total,
yeah.
Wow.
I don't know what the betting market is.
Did you go to the game last night?
Did what? No, Femia went to the game last night. I was at home.
Oh.
I was flipping back and forth between the Jets and the Mets game.
Well, I watched the Jets, and I said to myself, all right, I don't know whether or not the Jets are going to win the division. I don't know whether or not, the Jets are going to get in the playoffs, make a run. But I thought this. I did. For last night, I thought the Jets were pretty damn good. All right, let's move it along. You're a baseball guy. Shohei Ohtani, he goes 50-50 the freaking Dodgers win 20-4, and Ohtani, I swear to God, I have been following baseball my entire life. I don't think I'm sure I've seen it. I don't think I've ever seen a guy get 10 RBIs in one game. I don't think so, Nick. 10 in one game?
Yeah, you also have to consider that the Marlins were getting beat so bad that I'm not taking anything away from Shohei, but they put in a position player to pitch, and he's throwing 60 miles an hour. And the home run that he hit, his third home run, the 3-run home run to make it like 17 to 4 or whatever, was a 68-mile-an-hour meatball. And so Shohei, of course, is going to sit on it, and he's going to put it in the third deck, of course. So like I said, I'm not taking anything away from him. Shohei is probably
you are
the best players, but the Marlins kind of gave it to him. They just kind of handed it to him on a platter, just like, here you go. So he was going to do it regardless, but like as far as like, the 10 RBI game goes, like, the 2 stolen bases on top of it going 6 for 6, like, yeah, 3 of those at bats he was facing MLB pitchers. But the other at bats is just like
fair enough. No, that's fair. I mean, look, I get it, but I do get that. But I also would say, you can only play against who you're playing against. You know what I mean? Like you can't. You can only play against who they're throwing up there. And if a guy's throwing ephus pitches, all right, then screw it. You hit the ephus pitch, just don't miss it. But again, I know. And then you had the two stolen bases, the 50-50. Man, I don't know. To me, this is one of the great seasons of all time, if not the greatest season of all time. I don't know. I hate to say that because Bonds, if you look at the analytics of Bonds and how many pitches he actually got relative to how many home runs and being walked, I do. I swear to God, I do. I get it. But damn, dudes are throwing 170 miles an hour. Everybody's strikeouts are up, hits are down, all that stuff. And this dude's putting up numbers that we used to see way back when George Foster was playing. The pitches were 89 to 90. That's pretty good, Nick. I mean, I
would argue, though,
it's amazing.
I would argue, though, it's probably not the best season, only because Aaron Judge this year leads every single category on Shohei other than stolen bases.
Yeah.
That's number one. Number two, Shohei's only a DH. He's not in the field either. He's not pitching. He's not, playing center field. He's just batting. So he's putting all his focus on hitting. That's also like the biggest thing.
Yeah.
So
no,
I do agree, though. This is one
that.
of the best seasons, but there's other players who are doing miles better.
Well, Miles better?
I would say Aaron Judge, yeah.
Well, that's player.
Yeah, player.
You said
singular.
Players.
You
I agree. Yes. I agree. No, I agree. You giving Joel Embiid $64 million a year?
Hell no. Hell to the no. You can get multiple players that are maybe not as good as him, but still that you can fit a roster with that money. I get the market right now is like you're supposed to give these players the absurd amount of money, but I'm not giving 64 to Joel.
I'm not giving 64 to Joel Embiid. All right, here we go. You ready? I'm going to ask you a question. You got to give me your answer. Very simple. Colts, okay. Bears. Colts are getting 1.5. Colts are at home.
Colts. They're at home.
Me too.
They haven't won yet. They haven't won yet. They're due. Anthony Richardson is due for a win. I got to give it to them. And Caleb Williams isn't playing like the number 1 overall pick like how he's touted to be.
Cleveland Browns giving 6.5 at home in the dog pound against the Giants.
Cleveland. Easy.
All right. New Orleans
Easy.
Saints, after that big-ass win, -3 against the Philadelphia Eagles after that tough-ass loss. Philly's getting 3, or New Orleans being able to handle success, giving 3. That's a tough bet right there. That's a hell of a game right there.
I would imagine that. After a bad loss like that with Philadelphia, they have to bounce back. So I'm going to go with Philly on this one. Although, if I do choose Philly, I would argue that New Orleans puts up a monster game as well to keep it competitive. Kamara is absolutely cooking right now.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
This game is a do you believe game. Do you believe in the Minnesota Vikings? They're getting they're 2-0 at home against C.J. Stroud and the Houston Texans.
I believe 100%. I like Sam Darnold. I believe that he will continue to ride this trend. Now, I do like Houston. I love C.J. Stroud, but I think that the Vikings are going to end up doing it. If the Vikings win this game, they're for real. They're freaking for real. They're tough shit.
All right, let me give you one college game. You ready?
Okay. Hit me.
Indiana giving 28.5 to Charlotte, baby. Yeah.
I'm hammering that. I'm hammering Indiana. Parlay that with Nebraska. That's easy money.
Really? Nebraska takes on Illinois.
I think Nebraska is going to whoop Illinois' ass.
Really? Why are you so high on Nebraska? What's going on here?
I like Matt Rule. I think Dylan Raiola knows how to sling the ball. I like their defense. I'm all in on Nebraska.
There you go.
Dylan Raiola is also a playmaker too.
History. Let me just give you history about Indiana. Indiana, and I mean 1 year out of a million. They can't handle success. Indiana football players would beat some bad team, walk around campus like they did something. If that's changed, Indiana whomped Charlotte, who barely beat Gardner-Webb.